ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां। नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपादं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमतस्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमतस्य पादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम्। Having said to the student here, unless one puts one's own personal effort to overcome this ajnanam, there cannot be real liberation. He gave various examples, like if a person is sick, he has to take medicine. If one is hungry, one has to eat. If one is carrying a burden, it can be given to somebody else. Like a father leaves a debt, the children can clear it up. But when it comes to bondage, no one can really help. It is seen in the case of Ratnakar also, where he thought that all that sins he was committing can be shared by his own kith and kin or even wife. And that's what he argued with Narada. And Narada very clearly said, your karma is yours. Nobody can take it. You have to go through this. Just like karma cannot be shared by somebody else. Karma means karma phalam. Karma phalam na bhagam kartum shakyate. With the anyai bhagam kartum na shakyate. So by others it cannot be divided. And let us all experience the karma phalam together. It's not possible. Yata karma tata api ajnanam. Avidya is not something which you can share with somebody else. Similarly, bandhanam, atma bandhanam also cannot be shared with anybody else. Interestingly, that freedom also cannot be shared with anybody else. If bandhanam, bondage cannot be shared, how can the freedom can be shared? Atma Mukti also is only individualistic. People say, Swamiji, is it not so selfish? Yes, but it is better than selling fish. Because selling fish is so smelly, intolerable. So also bondage is also intolerable. It is not selfish, because one who has realized his nature becomes the abode of compassion, love, knowledge, wisdom, forgiveness, tolerance. And such a person, when he is around or she is around, others find greater strength in their life. See, if there is a person at your home who is patient, who is tolerant, who is smiling, who is peaceful, then even as some agitation, disturbance, anger, that all goes. But such a person, when he or she is present, everybody becomes quiet. Why? Because that person is not going to be affected by anything. You do whatever you want. You will only smile. So, in the presence of such a man of peace, none of the other things will work. Mahatma Gandhi, when he walked into the court, British court, everybody got up. He was not a commanding authority or anything. He just walked. That's all. Why? Because he's known for his ahimsa. He was respected for what he lived. In the same way, one cannot say moksha is selfish. Moksha is for Jana Kalyanartham. It is a great blessing for the entire community or humanity. So here he said that this has to be done by individual only. And having said this, he also mentions this is not just a mere scholarly study. One should not merely settle down for scholarly intellectual study. Vagvaikari, Shabdachari, Shastra Vyakyana Koshalam Vaidushyam Vidusham Tatvad Bhuktaye Natu Muktaye. भोग के लिए ऐसा भोग किए, मोक्ष के लिए this kind of mere scholarly study would not help. And then he also followed by saying, Avijñāte pare tattve shastrādi distu nishpala. Pare tattve avijñāte sati. When the reality is not known, or knowing the reality is not your purpose, Shastra adhihi, Shastra adhyayanam, patanam, shravanam cha, listening, studying, memorizing, tu indeed, adhitihi tu nishpala, फलरहिता, उसका फल नहीं मिलेगा आपको. There is no real result merely by study, merely by listening. न मयतया न बहुना श्रुतेन, not merely by memorizing, by listening. That's what Upanishad is, that one has to exclusively choose to live that. Yamaivesha vrinade tena labhyah tasesha atma vivrinade tanam swam. Then if one has studied the Shastra and understood that Atma Tattvam, then what use is the Shastra for him? Vijñāte api. What is that? Pare tattve vijñāte api. Pare tattve vijñāte api. Shastra adhihi tu nishpala. Nishpala means here does not mean useless, not necessary. That way we should understand. There is no real gain afterwards. Because the Shastra has done its purpose, it's completed it. Just like we use the soap to clean our body. After body has been washed very well, you got out of the shower. That soap is really nice smelling. Let me put it on again. For what? No, some people say, Swamiji, that toothpaste is so good, I will try to put it on that only, and then walk around. It has served its purpose of cleaning the teeth. Why are you putting it on again? Similarly, the knowledge has served its purpose. Jale Kataka Renuvat, it is said in Atma Bodha, right? That the Kataka Renu, that powder, brings down the dirt to the bottom. The clear water is available in the top. So once you got the clear water already available, what is the purpose of putting again? It's not going to add anything to it. So in the same way here, Vijñāte api pare tattve shastradihi tu nishpala. It's of the same useless only. So here, in the next verse, verse number 60. What is this words of the scriptures? It will create only Shastra Vasana. Reading more and more and more and more complex of words. Shabdajalam Maharanyam Chitta Brahmana Karanam Ata Prayatnat Jnatavyam Tattvajnaistatvamatmanah Shabdajalam Maharanyam Chitta Brahmana Karanam Ata Prayatnat Jnatavyam Tattvajnaistatvamatmanah. Shabdajalam, the net of words. Jala means net. What is a net? One word connecting to another, one other is connecting another. It is a kind of a bringing, it's like internet. One leads to another, one leads to another, one leads to another. There is no end to it. So, Shabdajalam and in Maharanyam. Maharanyam. It's a very, very deep, unpenetrable jungle. Aranyam is where you get in and you do not know which is the beginning, which is the end. Somebody asked me this question. Swamiji, one young boy, So he asked, Swamiji, I can ask you a riddle. What a riddle? Okay, tell me. When somebody enters the forest, at what time he is actually going out of the forest? When somebody enters the forest, when exactly he would be entering out of the forest? It's a halfway through. Once he crosses the halfway, next half only, the end exit only then. First half is entry, second half is exit. But which side you have to go, you don't know. It's like what you call the maze. The maze, you keep going. Take a right and you take a right and then take a left and take a left and go right and take a left. Finally, you are just hanging there only. You are not coming out. So this word, the word net, and the Shastras are filled with various possibilities. And that's why when scholars start talking on the subject, you wonder whether they are here to tell us anything or they want to demonstrate whatever they know. They don't really give solutions. They only go on and talking about whatever they know. And when you listen to them and listen to a Mahatma, you will see the difference. Mahatmas are those, they put things very simply. They don't go and use complex words. Because they don't want to show off, they just want a result. People should listen to it, hear it, understand, and then practice it. That is the intention. And do not make the subject difficult for people to understand. So, chitta brahmana karanam, chittasya brahmana karanam, it only makes your mind confuse. Brahmanam is to roam around. I say sometimes they introduce, when I was first in Calcutta, so one person first time when I was giving public lecture, so here is a brahmachari. I said, what? Instead of brahmachari, they say brahmachari. Brahmachari means one who is wandering about. So then I corrected, no, it's a brahmachari. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. So brahmanam is, roaming around. Chitta brahmanam. The mind keeps roaming and words and words and words. So karanam, it's become the cause of the mental roaming. Ataha, therefore, prayatnat jnatavyam. Tadvajnaihi atmanah tattvam prayatnat jnatavyam. Prayatnat with effort. Jnatavyam to be known. What? Tattvajnanam atmanah. Tattvam atmanah jnatavyam. Tattvajnaihi. So, with the help of those people who are already, one meaning is tattvajnaihi, with the help of those people who are already knowers of the truth, mumukshuhu tattvajnanam jnatavyam. One way we put it that way. Or tattvajnaihi, those who are interested to know the truth, they should tattvajnanam atmanah jnatavyam. Both ways. So, one should seek to know the truth. That is a scientific approach of anybody who is having the intent to find the purpose of the whole study. If the target or the purpose is forgotten, one would get caught up in the mere simple description details. It happens to us also when we go to a shop, we do not know what to buy, then what do you do there? Roam around. If you know exactly what to buy, then you first finish that part. First let me put in the cart whatever I want to know, what I want to buy. Okay, after having finished buying or putting that in your cart, then you may probably look around. If that is forgotten, if you do not have the clear understanding of what you want, you will get lost. So, Atmanah Tattvam, Yadatmya Rupam Atmanah, that is what we understood. Yadatma Rupam means that real nature of the self, that's what one has to understand. So, Upanishad Rupa Shastra Deva Achar Upadeshat Upadeshat Tattvasya Jnatavyam Jnatatvi Abhi Shastra Kolahala Na Ashraniyaha. Kolahala means too much of sound. Mere words and words. Tat vasanaya abhi jnana pradibandhakatvat. Shastra vasana abhi jnana pradibandhakatvat. Shastra vasana is also an obstacle. Loka vasanaya janto shastra vasanaya bicha deha vasanaya jnanam yata naiva jayate. Loka vasana, shastra vasana, deha vasana. What is loka vasana? Vasana means impressions. And vasana creates desires. Loka vasana is, let me do things as per the wish of people around me. Many people get caught up in this. Loka vasana means not going to different lokas. That is one meaning you can take. Another meaning is Loka stutyartam. Lokaihi stutyartam. People around me should feel that I am doing the right thing. I am living according to the standard. I will do things that will please everybody. In this way, just to please others when we live, that is called Lokavasana. Madhusudana Saraswati writes in Bhashya, this is something which people get caught up in. And he also writes, in nobody can make another person ever happy. So what are you caught up in that? Then Dehavasana. Dehavasana is where one is very busy taking care of the physical body, thinking that the physical body forever will exist. Therefore, go on working on that. Not knowing any amount of work that you do for the body, it will get old and die. There's no doubt about this. So just take care of it. That's all. Don't pamper it. So that Dehavasana, also going to Kshetratanam, this and that, and making physical body, taking a dip here and there, and then they think that something will happen and they'll get Atma Mukti. No, nothing will happen. Kurute Ganga Sagar Gamanam Bharata Paripalanam Adavadanam Japya Samed. No, and then Kuru Avadanam Mahadavadanam. These are all you do. Bhajati na muktim janmashatena. Kurute Ganga Sagar Gamanam Brata Paripalanam Atavadanam. Jnana Vihinaha Sarvamatena Bhajati na muktim janmashatena. Hundreds of lives you keep on taking a dip, nothing will happen. Shastravasana, on the other hand, is reading more and more and more and more books after books. Swamiji, I finished Atma Bodha. Finished. Complete. Done. What did you do? Finished. All the 18 chapters of Gita, finished. But I didn't see any improvement in you. What to do, Swamiji? I think I need to do Upanishad also. So this way, there is no end. See, we should read Shastra for clarity. When we read various texts, they bring more and more clarity. For that purpose, to obtain clarity when you read, then definitely it will help you there on the way to understand the nature of the reality precisely. That must be the attitude of a student, to clarify the doubts in the mind. And for that, every time one does the Shravana, one should do the Mananam also. When one engages in Mananam reflection, then only you will know what you don't know. And that will be answered. By one Upanishad may not answer, the other Upanishad may answer that. One Gita Shloka may not answer it, another one will answer that. But if you just listening and without any deliberation in your mind, then you keep on listening, it will keep coming in, but nothing happens to it. So Shastra Vasana is also Shastra Patanam, Adhyayanam, na Mananam Karodi. Then, so Deha Vasanaya Jnanam Yatavan na Jayate, Yatavat na Jayate. As it is, it will not be obtained. Iti Vakshamanatvat iti. Baba, later on he will say that about also. So, again, see what is the cause of the problem? That we are bitten by the snake called Ajnan. So we should take the correct aushadhi to get rid of it. That is why it says in the verse number 61 here, Ajnana sarpadashtasya Brahma jnanaushadam vina Kimu vedaista shastraischa Kimu mantre kimaushadaihi Ajnana sarpadashtasya Brahma jnanaushadam vina Kimu vedaischa shastraischa Kimu mantre kimaushadaihi. Ajnana sarpa dashtaha. Dashtaha bitten. Stung by Ajnana sarpa, the snake called ignorance. Vina Brahmajnana Aushadam, without the medicine called Brahmajnana, without that real understanding of the nature of Brahman, Kimu Shastrai, what the study of Shastra will do, Kimu Vedaihi, what these Vedas can do, Mantraihi. So, some people come and ask Swamiji, give me one mantra, I'll get peace. Give me that one mantra. So I tell them, one mantra I'll give you. What? Pato. विचार करो बस. विचारम करता विचार कर्तव्य है बस. तो ये मंत्र है. विचार नहीं करता है. मंत्र जप. Go on repeating. He is going to say what is the use of the mantra japa. See, mantra japa is necessary for concentration, not for liberation. But people are unfortunately caught up in that very notion. Something will happen. Something will happen. Because they are coming from the tradition called Vedas, where they are saying that you do this ritual, you will get punya and then you will go to Swarga. In the same way, I chant some mantra, something will happen. That kind of a belief, the people, it's very difficult to come out of it. Bhagavan Krishna says, Traividyamam somapa puta papaha. Those people who have done these various rituals that are given in Trividya, Triveda. Triveda means Traividya. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Ityadi. All this. Yajnai ishtva swargatim prartayante. Yajnaihi ishtva, having performed these various rituals, swargatim prartayante. They seek to go to the Swarga. Te tam bhuktva swargalokam vishalam. Having enjoyed their bhogas, shine punye martya lokam vishanti. Gada gadam kama kamaha labante. Gata agatam kama kamaha labante. Going and coming, going and coming, going and coming. Itne par killed. How many times you have done this? So Vedas also, when it comes to Veda, what it means is rituals. Mere rituals which may probably give you a temporary kind of Ajnana eva sarpaha atyanta anartakaratvat. It creates great calamity. Tena dashtasya, one who is bitten by that, avruti vikshebabhyam prabida mohasya. Avarana vikshepa ityadi maya karyam prapida mohasya. This created enough of this delusion. Brahmajnanam aushadam. Brahmajnanameva aushadam. Brahmajnana aushadam. Tena vina. Without that knowledge of the Brahman, Vedaihi, Rigadi Vedaihi, Shastraihi, Vyakaranadi Shastraischa, all the grammar, etc. Kimu prayojanam. What is the purpose? Mantraihi sapta kotibhihi kimu. Even one knows so many different mantras. Aushadaihi sanjivini adi mulikabihi va kimu palam tesham madhye keshamapi ajnana sarpana danshana prayojya moha nivartakatva abhavat iti bhavaha. Except that very medicine that can remove the poison that is already injected into the body by the serpent called Ajnanam. Without that medicine, anything else you do will not save you. Therefore, comparing the ajnanam like that of the very venomous poison of a serpent. So that is why he says all other things are not going to help you in getting rid of the ajnanam. Ajnanam, very word says, jnanam vina ajnanam na nashyati. Now, therefore, direct experience alone is the way to come out of it. So, therefore, he says in verse number 62 here, Nagacchati vinapanam vyadiraushada shabdatah vinaparokshajnanubhavam brahma shabdairna muchyate Nagacchati vinapanam vyadiraushada shabdatah parokshanubhavam shabrahma shabdairna muchyate. Vina aushadi panam nagacchati vyadhi. Any sickness will not go without the panam. Panam means the drink which is a medicinal drink, herbal drink, maybe herb and or various kashayas or whatever be the medicine in the form of a drink, which shows that without using that, but merely saying aushada shabda. Just keep repeating, go to the doctor, what medicine should I take? So morning 2 Tylenol you take, in evening before going to bed 2 Tylenol. You will not say 2 Tylenol in the morning, 2 Tylenol in the evening. You go home and sit in your seat or wherever. Tylenol. Feverishly you will say that. The fever won't go. Aushada shabda. By just merely repeating the Aushadi shabda without taking the real. So one person went to the doctor and said, I have this problem, what do I do? They said, I will give you medicine and you take every day for 10 days just after breakfast. 10 days? Yeah. Can I take all of them in the same day? Then you don't need to come. So the knowledge also should sink in. So there is a prescription how to go about it. By reading the prescription, how will you do it? So in the same way, vina aparoksha jnanam, without the direct experience, Brahma shabdaihi na muchyate. Aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi. Karte raho. Keep doing that. Only when you get tired, you get sleep. That's all it is. By merely repeating aham brahmasmi, nothing will happen. So, vyadihi rogaha, panam vina, aushada panam vina, tat virodakat, aushadam idi shabda ucharanat, na gacchati, na nivartate. Vyadihi na nivartate. That sickness will not go away by merely repeating the name. Tadvat aproksha anubhavam atma sakshatkaram vina, without the realization of the self directly, kevalam Upanishad ghatakaihi, Brahma shabdaihi. Merely what is declared in the Upanishad's word as Brahman, na muchyate. Nivritta bandha na bhavati. He is not freed from the bondage. See, this has been said by all the great masters, including Shankaracharya, very clearly, merely by repetition. No. That's why, when you see the rituals when the priests and all do, Very interesting. Am Isavasedam Sarvam Jagade Dhyana Takina Vandijada Bhavadakasya Janam Swaha. What? स्वाहा हो गया ईशावास्य मेरे पास इदम सर्वम. Instead of thinking that Isha Vasam Idagam Sarvam, it is you must have the attitude of looking at everything as Ishvara Rupena, Sarvam Darshaniyam. That, instead of that, because they think that's mantra will, something will happen. At least, mind will be concentrated. That is okay. But other than that, मुक्ति ही ना मिले, मुक्ति नहीं मिलेगा, भुक्ति मिलेगा. So mantra, yantra, tantra, japa, yajna, all these things are having their own purpose, no doubt, of only preparing the individual and not a liberation. Jnanam vina muktihi na labhyate. So, it is, in this next verse also he says, another example he puts here, akrutva drishya vilayam ajñātvā tattvamatmanah brahma shabdaikuto muktihi ukti matra phalainranam agrutva drishya vilayam ajñātvā tattvamatmanah brahma shabdaikuto muktihi ukti matra phalainranam. In the next verse he will give another example, but here he is just recapitulating the point. Drishya vilayam akrutva. What is drishya vilayam? This is what is beautiful word is used here. Drishyasya vilayam. Vilayam samapaniyam. See, drishyavaritam chittamatmanah. So, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Drishyasya vilayam is yad drishyate tat sarvam manasaha lalasameva. Play of the mind. Before this class also I was talking about that Saddarshanam there. The world that you see is only based upon your identification with the body. Without the Panchakosha identification, there is no world. In other words, sense objects are perceived by the sense organs. We all know that. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. Or if you take Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandham. Shabda through ears. Sparsha is the skin. Rupa by the eyes. Rasa is the tongue, by the tongue. And Gandham by the nose. All right. So the world devoid of these five, what is it? शब्द नहीं है, स्पर्श नहीं है, रूप नहीं है, रस नहीं है और गंध भी नहीं है. बताओ क्या है वर्ल्ड? What is then the world? Okay, if you understand these five different sensations make the world, these five different sensations without the relevant sense or organs can you experience? Not possible. Without the eyes you cannot have the form. So form is obtained only by the eyes, smell is obtained only by the nose, etc. That means entire Vishwam world that we experience is depending on the functionality of the senses. Correct? Jagrata Avasthayam, in the world of waking. Now, therefore, let us move from the Vishwam, Vishwavilayam Indriyeshu. Vishwasya Vilayam Indriyeshu. Bring the world into, or merge the world into the senses. That is why the Upanishad says, Yachet Vang Manasi Prajna. Vak Adi Indriya Vishayan Manasi Yachet. Yes. Yachet Vag Manasi Prajna. Now, before that, so what we have to do? Indriya Artham must be merged into Indriyas. Sense objects should be merged into the senses, because without the senses, sense experiences of the objects will not take place. So what is the ayatam, or what is the support for the objects? Senses. Now, the senses are illumined by the mind. Therefore, Indriyani Manasi Yachet. Sense organs to be merged into the mind. Meaning, the world is merged into the senses, senses are merged into the mind. So, this is called Drishya Vilayam. Further, it's there. So, mind is the one which is giving power to the senses, and the senses in turn are able to recognize the sense objects. Now, you have already done to the point of bringing the sense organs into the mind. Now, Manaha Api Vilayanam, Manasaha Vilayanam also to be done. Atmani. Now, therefore, in Ramana Maharshi's statement, what is it? Without the mind, there is no world. Because with the mind, senses organs function. Because of the sense organs, sense experiences are done. A sense experience is the world. Therefore, mind is the cause for the world of senses, sense experiences. So, none other than Sukshma Rupam Manaha Tasya Sthula Rupam Jagat. Manaha Sukshma. Tasya Manasaha Sthula Rupam Jagat. Mind is the subtle, and the same mind's gross form is the world. Now, when you understand this, without the mind there cannot be world. That is the conclusion you have to correctly arrive at. Now, ask this question: how do I withdraw the mind, Swamiji? From what? If you understand mind is the world, you have to withdraw the mind from, withdraw the mind into something, not world into the, world need not be withdrawn into the mind. You see? See, let us like this. You have a picture which is painted on the canvas. Let me merge the paint into the canvas. How do you do that? Tell me. How do you merge the painting into the canvas? Arey Baba, without the canvas there cannot be a painting. Where are you merging? You need to merge. When you start looking at the canvas, is there a painting? Is there a painting? Let me keep it ready. Let me merge the pot into the mud. Please do this, all of you. Come on, merge the pot into the mud. What do you do? Understand it is a mud. That's all it is. You understand it to be mud. Similarly, understand the world to be the mind. That is called withdrawal. Don't give an independent reality to the world other than the mind. There is no independent reality of the pot without the mud. So merging of the world into the mind means fully, confirmingly, firmly knowing the world is nothing but the mind. See, it is like this. I was giving the same example. Like take a Play-Doh. The children play the Play-Doh. And then they make different shapes of the Play-Doh. It appears to be like an elephant or a dog or a table or a chair. Now, in all these things, you pretty much know, even if you call it as a table, it is only Play-Doh. Similarly, whenever we experience any sensory experience, it is the mind going through some internal shapes. Mano vikaraha, it is called. Because all our experiences are only vritti rupa. Only thoughts. Shabda is also thought. Smell is also thought. Sensation of a touch is also thought. It's only thought. Oh, I never thought that way. So all of them are experienced only vritti rupena. Correct? And what is vritti? Manasaha parimanam. Vritti, if you understand, it is not an activity going on. So even though, for the sake of understanding what we say, vritti pravaha manaha, is it not? I mean, that is one way of putting it. Vritti pravaha manaha, as though vrittis are happening one after another. Therefore, there is a movement as though is taking place, and that movement is called mind. It is for the sake of understanding, it is good. But really speaking, manaha is like a consciousness taking a particular form is mind. Another form is another vritti. Another form is another vritti. See, now you are looking at me and listening to me, and these two things are not happening simultaneously, actually. Though you may look at it, you may experience it that way. One at a time. The mind is going through that fast speed of one to another, it constantly moving, and that creates an illusion of, that's what Alata Shanti Prakarana will say in Mandukya. It is constantly is going through that different modifications, and they make it appear as though there is a true momentum, which is not. Because consciousness does not change. Even though vikaravat drishyate. Vikarivat drishyate. You might have seen in the Christmas time and all, the Diwali time, the light moving, nothing moves. It's only on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. It looked like moving. In the same way, mind is a movement of consciousness, apparent movement of consciousness from one condition to another. Now, therefore, when you say vilaya, drishya vilayam, when it is said, what do we mean by that? When you do not anymore have the mind modification happening, when the mind does not, meaning the consciousness constantly changing its form is what is called the mind. When it stops changing its in this kind of modification, when it remains without that, that is called mano nasha. When it is temporarily stop doing it, it is sushupti, sleep. When it is for good, it stops. Where there is no vritti takes place based upon the perceptions outside. Then even as the eyes are open, even all the senses are apparently open, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says Sahaja Samadhi. Samyak adhiyate. Samyak adhiyate. Very well stopped. So here, Akrutva Drishya Vilayam. Ajñatva Tattvamatmanah. See, these two things have to happen simultaneously. In the sense, the stopping of the mind along with the recognition that this, when the movement has stopped, its own nature is realized, or upon knowing the nature of the consciousness, the ability to stop is also possible. So one is called Vyatireka, another is Anvaya. Vyatireka is what? Drishya Vilayam. Anvaya is what? Tattva Jnanam. Assertion of its nature and negation of its movement. So now you see here he says, Drishyavilayam drishyasya shabdajanya vritti vishayasya chit vishayasya va tena shashashringadehe brahmanascha shashashringadehe brahmanascha varanam ajnana antasya jadasya sarvasya brahmya vidiriktasya vilayah brahmani pravilapanam. Merging the movement, apparently recognizing that there is no absolute reality of that what is going on, just like the horns of a she-rabbit. Shasha Shringadehe. Brahmanascha varanam ajnanantasya jadasya sarvasya. Without the presence of consciousness, none of them have any more reality of that. Brahma vidiriktasya, devoid of Brahman, vilayam brahmani pravilapanam. Without doing that, akrutva, also atmanaha tattvam ajñatva. Without knowing the nature of the Brahman, sajadiya, vijadiya, swagata, beda, rahita, sarva adhishtana, satya, swayam prakasha, ananda, rupatam, ajñatva. I don't need to explain to you because this is our very well known words. If you do not therefore bring the end of this perception, and without recognizing the nature of the self, Ukti matra palaihi. The words of Brahman, the word Brahman is only just a sound. Uchcharana matra prayojane. Brahma shabdai. Bahya shabdaihi or Brahma shabdai. Antaranubhavam vina uchcharya pramanehi. Aham brahmasmedi ityadi shabdaihi. Nranam muktihi kudaha. Nranam manushyanam. Naiva sambhavati ityartha. Etena atmatattva-jnanam samasta drishya pravilapana purassaram brahma matra avasheshanam varama iti uktam vedireka mukhena akrutva iti. Vedireka is negation. What is to be negated? Without the negation here means without the dissolvement of the perceived world into the mind, drishya vilapane pravilapane tattvajnanam nanyata iti. Without that withdrawal of everything into that Brahman, there is no possibility of firmness in the tattvajnanam. Evam tattvajnane muktihi na aparata iti cha muktihetutvam jnanasya vyatireka mukhena kaditam tatra anubhavam tatra anurupam drishtantamaha. So, see, the sadhana is so internal. silently to be done. It's no exhibitionism. There is no external thing. So people ask, no, स्वामी जी इतना पढ़ लिया अब क्या करना है, क्या करना है? मौनेन भजन मनसा, with the mind which is, it is like Ramana Maharshi would say in Sadarshana, we'll see, just like a person who is trying to get the pearl inside which is found within the lake or pond or whatever, or a ocean. In an ocean, he wants to pick up the pearls. What he would do in the olden times, they take a deep breath because there is no equipment those times available. So they take a deep breath and then jump into the water. And when they go inside, their purpose is because their limited oxygen that they have got. So within the times available to them, they have to go only looking for that pearl. Because once the span of time is over, you cannot breathe. You have to come out. So how much intensive should be your search? In the same way, maunena majjan manasa swamula charchaiva swamula charchaiva satyatma vicharanam syat. Swamula charcha eva satyatma vicharanam. Atma vichar means swamula charcha. Ahankarsya moola charcha, manasaha moola charcha, aham vrittehe moola charcha. Looking for the root of the aham vritti. Where is the first thought arising? What is the source of my first thought? To go to the first thought, Swamiji, how to go to the first thought? From 3, 2, 1, you have to go. From many to few to single and to the end. With all other thoughts present, how will you do the first thought search? See, if you see the family tree, so many people are, okay, who is the father of all this? Who is the father of that? Go. After that, you don't have data available. But you go there and there will be only one couple there finally. Beyond that, you don't know. So in the family tree, from many, you go to few and then the fewer and fewer and fewer, on. In the same way, unless one is able to remove the manyness of the thoughts into few thoughts, that's what we are trying to do. World of experiences, senses. You have already come to because many shabdas, many sparshas, many rasas, many different sounds, many sensations already. But basically you are drawing everything into 5 sense organs. 5 sense organs to one mind. One mind to the source of the mind. That is called Swamula Charcha. That is called Satya Atma Vicharanam. Just like the person who has decided to find the pearl which is under the water, takes a deep breath and with Maunena, he cannot talk to anybody at that time. When you are inside the water, somebody, hello, how are you? If you open the mouth, you are out. That is why Manana Shilavan Mauni. A person of contemplation is extremely silent because if he speaks, then the thought process will start. So it is not the forced silence, you understand, the purposeful silence. Why are you silent? I am searching for something. Where? Inside. Therefore, I am silent. So instead of doing that, Brahma Shabdena, kya? Am Brahmasmi iti, mere Shabda is what? Uktamatrehi palam. Uktamatra palam. Uktimatra palam. That's just a sound. No useless sound it is. Very strong, huh? Shankaracharya would not sacrifice, would not compromise on this. Because these are all he was giving even before the beginning of even teaching to the student. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayaha, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkhabhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. We do not have the class next Monday because Shivratri. So we will start the class following Monday. Any questions anybody has?